Look what's arrived. It took a little bit longer than I was expecting, but the 2025 Africa Twin Adventure Sports is now here. So I thought I would get out and do an initial ride, give some feedback. Some people have been really keen to find out about this bike. So I just wanted to do a kind of moto vlog style first video. If you're here looking for a full review of the bike, then this is not it. That will come at a later stage, but there were people that were keen on this. They wanted to get my first impressions. I haven't ridden one of these since the launch back in 2024, so I wanted the opportunity to get out and ride it on roads that I know, and having just swapped this for the previous model, give you some feedback on how this differs to the old 21-inch wheeled version. So without further ado, let's get cracking. So yes, it is finally here, the 2025 Africa Twin Adventure Sports, and I thought I'd do a little moto vlog. I don't do many of them, but I know people that follow the channel, and there are some of you that have been a little bit invested in this bike and want to know about it. Now obviously I will bring a full review of it, which I was lucky enough to be invited on the launch, and so I have ridden this quite a bit, but I've ridden it in sunny Spain, or was it Portugal? I can't remember. So it's nice to actually physically get out on the British roads and for me to give you a little bit of feedback from my initial riding. One thing I am going to do is put that screen up into a higher position just to try to keep some of the wind off of this microphone. It might be a little bit blustery. There we go, this will do. There's one thing which could be a niggle, maybe not. It's a very easy screen to adjust, and it's a very effective screen, but you need two hands to do it. You can kind of do it one at a time and sort of scissor it down. Generally, if you want to move it up and down, you've got to stop to do that. Well, you don't have to, but you just have to take your life in your own hands. Does that bother me? Not really. Would I want an electric screen? Not really. I've talked about that in other videos. Don't really worry too much about that. If this had a single release, a bit like the Ducati one, it could just boom boom boom, that would be better. As it is, it's not a problem. Generally I tend to ride with it in the highest position most of the time, apart from the warm days on the summer when I want to drop it down to get as much airflow as possible. This is a 2025 Africa Twin Adventure Sports ES DCT, so I've stuck with the DCT. It's got a couple of additional extras on there. Got a set of the rally pegs. I had them on a previous Africa Twin, not the last Adventure Sports but the standard bike, and really like them. Nice bigger platform, grippier, bit more comfortable, better for standing on. And I have got a Honda centre stand. The bike doesn't come with a centre stand, but I found that to be incredibly handy, so I've got a Honda one on there. Previously I had the SW Motec stand on, which is a brilliant stand. But as you may know, I'm no longer sponsored by SW Motec. There was a decision made by the UK distributor who I worked through that they weren't going to have ambassadors, they were just going to do product marketing. So I thought, well, that gives me an option to go further afield. But having said that, I've now signed an agreement with Jivy. They very quickly came in and said, we noticed that the SW Motec's branding has disappeared. Would you be interested in working with us? So of course I thought, why not? Jivy don't make a centre stand, and so I've got the Honda one in. So let's touch on the general riding, the first experience, because yesterday I was buzzing around on the 2023 model with a 21-inch front wheel, and I'm now riding sort of back to back, if you like, onto the 2025 model. So how does it differ? And it's interesting because it feels very familiar. You know, the controls are all the same, everything at this front end is the same, although the geometry is different. So this feels lower at the front. The 23 model, or let's say the 21-inch model, seemed to be taller at the front. The bars were higher. This is definitely a different position to that. I'm canted a little bit. Oh Jesus! Sorry, I am canted a little bit forward, just fractionally, just marginally. It's not much of a difference. I'm still in a really nice upright position. I've just got that tiny bit of weight leaning forward, which is no bad thing. Makes you feel a little bit more connected to the front end. The seat is obviously lower. This is, I think it's in the lowest, no, this is in the highest position. This is adjustable, but it's still obviously lower than the previous one. I've got easy reach to the ground with it. I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. It feels a little bit like I'm sitting on the bike more as opposed to into it. On the previous model, particularly if you put the seat in its lowest position, that sculpted seat felt like you were kind of sat down and the tank came much higher in front of you. This feels lower. It's a bit more like a GS in that sense. I've just had, or I've still got it, the R1300 GS, and when you compare that to the previous African Twin with the 21 inch front wheel, the front is much lower on the GS. It feels more like a road bike, and this is very similar to that. At the moment it's got stock tyres on it, and I will be changing those, and I'm probably going to go for raids again. Now, I don't really intend to do much off-roading, but I found that those are not that much of a compromise on the road. Okay, you're not really going to push it super hard on those on the tarmac, although you can go a long way. For the riding I do and the way that I ride at my skill level, I never thought that they were holding me back at all. I've just been up to a farm track to do some filming with a drone. I was on just a standard gravel track, and these tyres were okay, but there was a bit of mud there and it was a little bit skittish. So the raids therefore are much better in that kind of scenario. Yes, it is a trade-off. I haven't quite got the sharpness that I would do with a road tyre, and I don't have the longevity, so I was thinking about putting Meridians on there, which I've had before on the KTM. Nice sort of 90-10, 80-20 tyres, really good in the wet, but they are what I crashed at the ABR festival on my KTM as soon as I hit the first piece of mud. It feels like the bike is just a little bit more balanced, but it certainly feels less top heavy than the 21 inch front wheel version. Standing isn't too bad. Got a little bit more of a reach. If I was going to do a lot of standing, then I might want to put risers on there, but for me 90-95% of the time I'm going to be on tarmac, and this riding position is what I want. I don't want the bars up too high, but everything else feels much the same. Obviously modes and all of that business is exactly as the previous ones were, but it just feels just that bit sharper at the front end. It is noticeable. I didn't think it was noticeable that much initially when I rode this, but jumping, as I say, on these roads that I know well, from the bike yesterday to this bike, there's definitely a bit more surety in the front end. You know, changes of direction and steering is quicker. It also feels like the seat has got a little bit more padding in it. It feels plusher. Now, I don't know if that's just because it's new and it hasn't had my fat arse on it for miles and miles and miles, but they have, I think, reshaped the seat. But there's definitely it feels plusher, and I don't know if that's a combination of that and the change in position, because you're sat with your hips sort of tilted very slightly forwards, which would be interesting to see if that makes it a more comfortable bike to ride over the long term. We will see. I still think this is one of the nicest looking adventure bikes out there. A few people have commented that they're not that keen on this version compared to the previous one. It looks a bit rounder and a bit flabby and not quite as aggressive. I don't mind it. I think it's a nice looking bike. Honda have stuck with the tricolour paint job as well in their range. So this one has that and that comes with gold wheels, and everybody knows gold wheels are at least 5 miles an hour faster. But the other one that was in the range, which I did look at and I ummed and ahed about, was I can't remember what they called it. It's a metallic grey, and I saw it in pictures and I thought, no, I'm not that keen on it. It's not too bad. In the flesh, it's a lovely looking bike, but this is iconic for this bike. So far everything is nice and smooth. I've got a tiny bit of vibes through the bars, and I can feel a little tiny bit through the foot pegs, which is what you would expect. I have read articles about a shaky front end. Now, I don't know if that's just a 21-inch front wheel. You know, I got asked lots of questions. Do you have this problem with the head shake when you take your hands off the bars? I can't remember what speed it was. I've never had that issue. I didn't really run the stock OEM tyres on it for very long because I put the Dunlops on at the first opportunity. So whether it's something to do with that or what, I don't know, but hands off the bars, there's no shaking going on there. But I will keep you posted. So what are the plans with the bike? Well, I'm going to ride the shit out of it and ride it as much as I can. Got a few exciting trips planned. The trip in Morocco, unfortunately I can't take this because I'm flying down to Spain and I'm picking up one of Rev Travel's bikes, so I've got to do that on a BMW. I would like to take this, but I can't, so maybe I'll do a separate trip. This bike should be at ABR on the Jivy stand, and by then I should have some Jivy accessories on it. I've never ridden the NC500 and it's a bit of a cliche now, but that may be something to do. But there's a lot of other routes that I'd quite like to ride on it. I may potentially be doing a charity event with Charlie, which I talked about in my end of year video. I've got a few accessories to put on. We're going to put some Jivy hard luggage on here. We're going to look at some of the soft bags. So I've got the mount for the GPS, which I think I'll put back on there for the Garmin, which is handy. I've got my Bluetooth dongle to plug in for the Apple CarPlay. But part of this video is to find out what you'd like to know about this bike. If there's anything in particular you want to see in terms of the bike itself, any accessories for it, just let me know. I want to make content that you guys want to watch. Obviously I've got quite a lot of bike reviews coming up. I've got the new Honda GB350S coming very soon. I've got a Tiger 900 GT Pro. I've got the Suzuki GSX-8S, which we're going to start cracking on with bits and pieces on that. I'm doing some work with a security company as well, so if you've got any questions about security, any worries, be that locks or markings or trackers, yeah, let me know in the comment section if you've got any questions around those or things that you'd like to see, because we're planning some content around security on bikes. So feedback from you guys is always good to kind of feed into it. So let's give you a quick look around. There she is. So yeah, different style fairing. It's been changed here. You've got these little holes. I think it offers a little bit more protection. The previous year, the 2024 model of this had a dark blue front mudguard, like this, that colour, which I kind of liked, but the white's fine. I can get some sponsors logos on there. So this is running Bridgestones, I think. Yeah. AX41s, are they? I haven't even looked at. So as I say, centre stand on here. These are the rally pegs. But as I say, today was just the opportunity to. It was a bee. What are you doing out? Alright, mate. Signs that the warmer weather is coming. Fingers crossed. So as I said, everything else about this bike is the same. 24.8 litre tank, which will give you 300 miles of range if you're careful. It does feel smaller, more compact. If you look at it, you think, oh, it's still a big bike, and it is a big bike, there's no denying that. But it definitely feels more compact than the 21-inch version. Dare I say it, I think I prefer that. Nothing wrong with the 21-inch version bike, obviously. I absolutely adore that bike. My first impressions of this are it just feels a little bit more manageable, a bit more just overall smaller and lighter. And obviously that is just an impression, because it is the same weight as the previous bike. If anything, I think it's fractionally heavier. Ooh, what about your side of the road? So as I said, it is an introduction. It's not meant to, it was never meant to be a full-on review. If you've come to this video expecting that, then I apologise, but I suspect you would have already switched off by now if that's the case. But yeah, you can definitely feel the difference, the way that the bike rolls from side to side. It is a faster steering bike. I've still got to be careful because, as you can see, the roads are pretty crappy. But yeah, it's lovely. I am enjoying this. So as I say, any questions, let me know. If there's stuff that you want to see, let me know. If you've got suggestions for content, I'd quite like to get you guys involved as well. So whether anybody would be interested in kind of doing a meetup and a ride out, you know, I've not really done that sort of stuff, but you know, if there's people who want to come and explore the roads around here, there's plenty of places that I can take you on, some nice roads, and lots of places to go and grab a bite to eat. Just let me know. Run wild in the comment sections. Not too wild, keep it clean, well, cleanish, keep it respectful. One of the questions I posed on my 2024, my long-term review of the other one, is changing to this: have I made the wrong decision? And my first response to that is hell no, I haven't. I think I have made a brilliant decision. And all that leaves me to say is, until next time, thanks for watching, take care, ride safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.